guys, Larissa with BeCozi is here. Today I will show you how to make this beautiful blanket, and it's a new pattern. I received a lot of requests asking to show how to do it. It's a basket weave. Also people call it checkers. It's really beautiful. This blanket is 35 by 45. It's not a big blanket, it's like a lap blanket. In our store we call it small. And today we will be using unusual maybe material. We have it in our store for some time. This is super chunky acrylic yarn. This is not merino wool. It looks and feels the same basically as merino. It's super chunky, it's very soft, gentle to touch, and it gives you really beautiful products, but it's a great alternative for those who cannot use merino wool for any reason. You can find it in our store, BeCozi.net, and let's get started. So as I mentioned, we will be using this beautiful aquamarine acrylic yarn. It's 100% vegan. It's super chunky. It feels and looks the same as merino wool. It's perfect alternative for those who cannot use merino for any reason. We will start with the making a loop. This is the end, working yarn. And now we insert our hand inside, grab working yarn, pull it out. We have our first stitch. Now we will be making a chain, and to make a chain we insert our hand inside, grab working yarn, pull it out. This is our chain. For the blanket 35 by 45 we will need 12 stitches, so let's cast on 12 stitches. We have 2 now. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. It will be 3. And keep doing it until you have a chain of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As I mentioned, this super chunky vegan yarn is very soft, gentle to touch. It's very similar to merino wool. So if you want to use something but different, super chunky but not merino wool, it will be a great alternative. So here we have 12 stitches, and now we will be starting knitting. So for the pattern I'm showing you today, it will be basket weave. This will be alternating knitting and purling stitches. So we will start, because we have 12, we will divide it in 4 parts basically, because basket weave is 3 knitting stitches and 3 purling. So let's start with 3. This is our first stitch of the first row. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. The second stitch will go on the bottom of the next stitch, not on the top. Grab working yarn, pull it out. And then the same with stitch number 3. So now we have 3 knitted stitches. Now we will knit 3 purling stitches. For purling stitches you need to grab working yarn and insert it in the down hole. Insert it, take it out. Second one the same. You're going in the bottom of the stitch of your chain, the first row chain, and inserting working yarn and then pull it out on the back. And this way you have 3 purl stitches. You can see the difference. Purl stitches have this line, like bumpy line in front, and knitting stitches, they have just this chain, they don't have this line. So now we will knit 3 again. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. 3 knitted stitches, 1, 2, 3, and now 3 purled. Grab working yarn, insert it in the bottom hole of the stitch, take it out on the back. Do the same for the second one, and the same for the third. So this way we have 12 stitches. This way we have 12 stitches, and we will need to make the same 3 rows to have a beautiful basket weave, or some call it checkers. It's the same. So what we're doing with the second row, we are purling, because this is purled stitches. Insert your working yarn inside the stitch and take it out. Insert inside, take it out. So we have 3 stitches, purl stitches, and you can see that this is the second row, because this is the first row, this is the second. Now we are knitting 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And you can see that we have 4 rows because we have 2 holes here. That's how you calculate in how many rows. 1, 2. And we need 3 rows of the same pattern. So now we're done with the row number 2, and now we're moving to row number 3. So 1, 2, 3, we're knitting this 3. You can see that this is a knitting area, and you can calculate how many rows you have by calculating holes. 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. And now we're moving to the third row, but 3 purled ones. You see, we can see it here that it's purled ones, first row and second row, and now we're going to the third row. And for this purled stitches, we're inserting working yarn inside the hole and take it out on the back of the stitch. And the same here, insert working yarn, pull it out on the back. Insert your working yarn and pull it out on the back. And the same for the knitted one, as we did previously, inserting your hand inside the stitch, grabbing working yarn, pull it out. And again, for the purling one, you are inserting your working yarn inside and pull it out on the back. Okay, now we have 3 rows done. You can see it here. 1, 2, 3. You can see it here. 1, 2, 3. So what we are doing now, we are switching. We are switching from knitting to purling, and from purling to knitting. And these 3, we will be knitting those that were purled before. So for this purpose, we are moving our working yarn on the back, and then insert your hand, grab working yarn, and pull it out. The same with the next stitch. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, and pull it out. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. And here you can see the difference. This were 3 rows of purled, and now it's 3 stitches that were knitted, and we will need 3 rows to have it look as basket weave or checkers. For the next 3, we had it knitted, we will need to purl them. So you inserting your working yarn inside, grabbing it on the back and taking it out. Insert working yarn, grab it out on the back, and third time the same. And here you can see that we switched from from knitting to purling, and we're moving further this way, the same way. So here we had 3 rows of purled stitches, and now it will be knitting. Insert your hand and grab working yarn from the back and pull it out. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. And the same for the third stitch. And now we have 3 last ones that were knitted, and now we will be purling them. Again, when you're purling, you inserting your working yarn inside. When you're knitting, you inserting your hand and grabbing working yarn. That's the difference. So this is inserting your working yarn 3 times, and 3 for 2 more rows, because this is the first one. And then I will come back and show you the next row. Okay, here we are. We have 2 alternating times for this beautiful basket weave. You see the difference already, right? 3 purled, and then 3 knitted, 3 knitted, 3 purled. So we have 6 rows total. We have this beautiful pattern pretty much seen. So now we are alternating again. So those 3 that were purled now will be knitted, and this way you will be doing for about 18 rows. It might be 20 depending on your knitting skills, but you will, for the blanket 35 by 45, you will need about 12 stitches to cast on and about 18 rows to make a blanket 35 by 45, and it will be about 4 pounds, again depending on your knitting skills. It might be a little bit more. The looser you knit, the less yarn you use. So now this is purled rows. You can see these bumps, it shows that it's purled. Now for knitting, you are inserting your hand, grabbing working yarn, pull it out, and 3 stitches that were purled now will be knitted, and then you're doing alternating to the next 3 stitches that were knitted. Now they will be purled. Insert working yarn inside, grab it on the back, take it out. So that's basically the whole pattern. That's what you will be doing, alternating 3 purled, 3 knitted for about 18 rows, and I will make those 18 rows and then come back and show you how to cast off. Okay, so now we are done with knitting, alternating knitting. You can see this beautiful pattern now, and now we will cast off. Cast off is pretty easy. You can do it from any side. We will be doing it from the left side. We will be grabbing 2 stitches together and then knitting them. Insert working yarn inside and make 1 stitch from 2. So this way we will be doing to the end of the knitting. You grab this 1 stitch that you have and add another one. Insert working yarn, knit, and make 1. Put working yarn on the back, add another one. You have 2 now, and knit. And continue doing this way until you're done with all 12 stitches. Just add one by another. Then knit 2. Make 1, knit 2, make 1, Here we have last stitch, and when you're done you will have just a small tail. You will insert this tail inside the last stitch and pull it out. I will not be cutting it because I still have some yarn left here, so this will be your end of the knitting, and then you can just hide it on the back between any of the stitches on the back like that. So here's our blanket, gorgeous aquamarine 100% acrylic, super chunky vegan yarn. You can find it at BeCozi.net.